Be Better, episode 50. It's been quite a few moons since we've podcasted. Just Jacob and I on the Be Better. We've been busy being better, opening gyms, a gym, training kids, holidays, you name it. We Amber, she gotta mute that. Amber, come on. Amber, can you put phone? We've just been busy, so we've been putting on the back burner this year. Me and Jake were like, we got to start cranking some of these out and getting some more content to you guys. Whether it be just us BSing, us talking about challenges, us talking about training, us talking about whatever. Get some more stuff out to you tonight. We actually have a guest, a new coach we hired, Nicole. She's gonna be hopping on here shortly. Check out a Texas that I met. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Jacob, glad you were on tonight in person, which is always fun.
Yeah, when was the last
Oh, shit.
time?
Shit.
Uh-oh.
You're muted. There you go.
Oh, no, I'm good. I was muted. When was the last time we did this? Do you know? I'm just curious because, I mean, I'm thinking about all the things that have happened. Part of it's been
probably, I would guess 5 months.
Yeah, because I think the Olympics happened.
Right? The Olympics, yeah.
And then I went to Zimbabwe. Then I went to Senegal. Then we had Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, anniversary. I mean, it's just been one thing after the other. And, you know, obviously, like you said, we started the gym and then basically I went to the Olympics. So it's been a lot. And again, it's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, at some point, like it or not, you know, something's got to give. And we just kind of decided that we weren't going to stress about this. But new year, right? 2025. If you've been following along, we have been oozing content.
Oozing.
Out of our ears, out of our noses, out of our mouths. I mean, with your getting ready for this bodybuilding show, I know you and I just kind of committed to, hey, we're gonna film, we're gonna post. It's not super difficult. I enjoy personally filming it and editing it. I really like it. And it's not that difficult because I've done it a little bit enough now that I'm faster and I'm getting better at it. And yeah, anyway, you know, I think part of it too was some of those trips overseas. I got to film some stuff and edit some stuff for some of those trips. And I learned that I could really do it with my phone, you know, a phone and a Mac. Yeah, I just kind of thought, you know, we'd go out to LA and we'd see what some of those crews do, and they have a little bit more elaborate setup. And I just, man, we can do a decent job with what we have.
Yeah,
and that makes it easier. So anyway, I hope everybody's been enjoying it. We're going to keep it going. And this is part of it. We want to get people to know about what's going on. We want them introduced to obviously our new coach, and hopefully even have some more topics about all sorts of things, training, life, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And we've had a few comments about people asking if it's going to come back. And so here we are.
Yeah,
we're back.
We are. Speaking of here we are, I want to bring on Coach Nicole, our new thoroughbred out of Texas. Nicole, welcome to the Better Show.
I'm not sure if I heard that. Did you ask something? Can you hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you. Welcome to the show. Happy. I gave you about a 18-hour heads up, and she hopped. So it's great.
Yes, this is my lovely bedroom, as you see.
Oh, nice pad.
Well, hi, Nicole. I've never actually met you. I'm Jacob. Hi.
I know. Hi. I've seen you on the socials. I'm Nicole.
Yeah, and likewise. And are you from Texas?
I am. Yes.
Oh, I'm from Texas.
I mean, technically California, but I don't claim it. It's a
secret. Okay. Yep. No, I'm from Texas as well. So, you know, all good things come from Texas as well.
That's what I've always said. Yeah.
And everything's bigger in Texas as well. And you seem to be quite the lifter.
She's sturdy.
Quite the lifter down there. You are freaking creating bodies with the barbell. So I just want to personally learn a little bit more about you. And, you know, I want anybody that follows us to get an opportunity to get to know you. So just, you know, obviously I don't know any of it. Tom might know some of it, but just walk us through, like, you know, what's your journey look like in terms of fitness. I know Keith Honeycutt, if he listens, he's going to love that. He's steaming over that phrase right now, but no, seriously, how'd you get into it? You know, what inspired you to get going? And yeah, just kind of talk about that for a minute.
Yeah. So I kind of qualify myself as a lifelong athlete. I was a competitive gymnast starting at about 5 years old. So
it's tough.
kind of don't know any different. So I feel like from 4 to 6 p.m. since I was about 5 years old, it's been something athletic. So I was a gymnast first for about 8 years, and then I tried everything from basketball, tennis, golf, softball, got 8 teeth knocked out of my mouth. That was a fun time. Then volleyball. My dad likes to joke that I got into volleyball because it was the one I was worst at. And then, and so I had to get good at that one. I was a very tall gymnast at 5'7", and then I never grew again after 11. So I was a very short volleyball player. But I jumped pretty well. So volleyball became my love. I played volleyball in high school for a state championship here in Texas. And then I played for the Coast Guard as well in college.
Sick of the game.
Yeah. And so, like I said, sports has always been the thing. It just always was usually focused for sports performance and getting stronger, faster, jumping higher, hitting harder, that kind of stuff.
Well, you and I are basically the same because I grew up in Texas. I trained for sports performance as well, played football and basketball and ran track. Was a decent football player and just enjoyed basketball and decent track athlete. But the similar thing, I always trained for, sports performance. I got too many concussions and had to stop playing. But that's when I kind of shifted more towards strength and power and powerlifting. I powerlifted for a long time, did some strongman, etc. But anyway, yeah, we're basically the same, essentially. No, but I'll just say this to anybody who doesn't know, a state championship in Texas is a big deal.
It means more. I know.
Because Texas is a big place. And if you've never driven across Texas, you don't really understand.
For a 5A school at that, too.
Wow. No, so that's even a bigger deal. What does it go to now? Like when I was in school, it was 1A through 5A. What is it now? Does it go to 6A or is it still 5A?
There is a lot more 6A.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there really wasn't when I was in school, but I was 3A, by the way. It was a pretty small school, but yeah, so 5A state championship, that's a big deal. Holy smokes. That's awesome. That had to have been fun. Where was it? In Austin, I'm guessing?
New Braunfels here.
Really? Yeah. I love New Braunfels. Lots of water parks.
Yep. That's what I've heard. I was reading about that.
Lots of water parks.
A lot of water parks. Yeah. So just real quick backstory how I met you. We were both at coaching at, do you remember the meet? I don't remember the meet.
No, it was a USPA meet.
USPA Texas beginner something meet. We both had clients in it. Mine was Matt of Pioneer Fit. Been buddies with him for a while, so he flew me out, and then I kept like seeing Nicole, and I'm like, she's coaching us. Okay, that makes sense, whatever. But there wasn't too many coaches, just kind of like me and you. And then I just like kept noticing. I'm like, yeah, she knows her shit. She's picking the right numbers. She's doing we just immediately pick it up, just like not watching you, but like being observant of the area. I'm like, this chick knows her shit. And I'm like, I got to see if she'll work for us, or work with us. Really. I'm like, man, she needs to be better. She needs to coach people. She needs to do it virtually. I'm like, I'm hoping she's doing all that. And then luckily you were being coached by Stacy, but you're open to virtual coaching. And then I was able to, over a couple weeks, coax you to be on the team, which was great for us. So how did you catch that powerlifting bug? So like, take me from like your first meet-ish to basically when I met you, when you were then already coaching.
Right. I will say I would have said something eventually because I wanted a shirt that said "Be Better." I just absolutely love that. And I was
now you got them.
Like, where'd you buy that? I want that. But my powerlifting journey, so technically it started in high school. I competed a couple of times my sophomore, junior, senior year. It was mostly for something else to letter in. I didn't really care that much. And I actually deadlifted 315 in high school at like 130 pounds. And that's my dad was like, women can lift cars off their children. You can do this.
Yeah, because powerlifting is pretty big in Texas, right?
Let me just interject.
Big in high school Texas.
There is competitive powerlifting in high school in Texas.
Yeah,
that's
we
how
didn't have
awesome
that.
It is. Yeah, that's super awesome.
That's really cool.
And I had a really great coach and all that. It just wasn't my love or my care at the time. And I was naturally stronger than a lot of people, so I just didn't really take it all too seriously. So then after college volleyball, working out for aesthetic just wasn't doing it for me anymore. I'm a competitor and an athlete. Like I need something on the schedule, something I'm working towards. And so I kind of looked into weightlifting and powerlifting, and I got a really bad shoulder, so leaned towards the powerlifting thing. The first thing I signed up for was a non-sanctioned military-based gym competition, but I took it real seriously, and I pretty much fell in love, never really looked back. I've done probably anywhere from 2 to 3 meets a year ever since 2017, or no, that was 2018. But again, I still feel like I fell a little guilty to that. I won a lot of local meets, and
Right.
and that was good enough for me. I'm a single parent, so that was good enough, but I was chasing that 405 deadlift, and it's like, if I could deadlift 315 dang near 2 decades ago, then I should be over 400 by now. And so that became my fixate point, and that is what led me to finding Stacy and working with her. And she likes to say our little coin line, that's a joke from my boot camp days, is, it's amazing what happens when you actually try. Like,
Yeah.
I always thought I
help.
tried. I think of myself as a pretty high work ethic kind of person, but there's just been a different gear flipped in the last year where I've taken it a lot more seriously. And as you know, I've got Ghost Clash coming up in April, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, so when I was coming up in the ranks of powerlifting, it was like, at the time, it was like California. It was like Mark Bell's Power Meets, Dan Green's Animal, something. I forget, his gym had a big meets.
Mhm.
And then slowly started like switching to Florida. And there was like Raw Unity and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, it was hybrid, and that kind of fell apart. And then, like, to me, the next big thing is Alex's meet, the Ghost Clashes, I mean, I don't know how many they've done. They've done them for probably 4 years now, give or take 2 a year, I think. So that's like, to me, that's like your mecca in the States, in the United States. Outside of States, they have some bigger meets as well. But I think in the States, that's like one of the biggest meets you can do. And like, he does it right. He got great equipment. He's got a cool stage. I think they've been doing it like, there's like a bar and a restaurant there, and you can get VIP tables. Like, they make it pretty cool, like, to where people can, like, powerlifting in the crowd sucks. Right.
Yeah.
You're like, oh man, just hurry up so you can lift for 12 seconds. They make it like kind of more of an experience for the fans too that show up. So it's cool. I always like watching those live streams. So, I mean, props to you for getting in that meet. If you're a powerlifter, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I used to tell people when I was lifting, like, come for deadlift. Like, you can skip everything else because my squat's gonna be decent. My bench is gonna be disappointing because you're not gonna hit what I think I'm gonna hit, and then deadlifts will be pretty good. So,
hey, we really are the same.
I'm telling you, we're the same. It's crazy. But yeah, but the thing about Ghost is, like, there's obviously there's a USAPL kind of sect. And I don't have anything against it or people who compete in it. But USAPL Nationals, I personally don't think it's that big of a deal because you just have to qualify and you can go. So it ends up being this massive, gargantuan event. And I think there's something a little bit more special about like what Ghost Clash is doing and some of the other meets it used to do, Tom, where it's a little bit more selective. It's a little bit higher level only. There's smaller groups. Like, that's exciting to me, where everybody that's lifting there is chasing something that's really cool. And again, it's not to say that it's better than the others, just what I personally like to go see. And it's what I personally like to compete against. I love for everybody to do better and obviously, be better. I love for everybody to improve themselves and get better. But personally, if I'm going to show up, I want to see somebody, smash some weights and do something really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's going to be the place for her being in there, as well as just, I mean, being around that atmosphere, right? You're going to, lack of better words, you're going to be better just from what you're surrounded in, right? And then you'll see some other girls lift some crazy weights, and then it kind of keeps that fire going. Because sometimes after you compete, you're like, I don't want anything on my back. My hands are tired. I'm not lifting this shit. And then you see that, you're like, all right, we got work to do. Back to the drawing board,
Right.
So
that's what I've been saying this whole time is I just want to look like I belong. Like, I just want to fit in when I get there. It's the goal. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have no problem. So how does you've emphasized quite a few times like being a solo mom. So how does that change your lifting perspective? You have to be really more diligent with your time. Do you bring your son with you to the gym? Like, how does that work for you being just, a solo parent?
Yeah. Yes, I'm a 365-0. So he's with me all the time. And he's grown up in the gym. He was there when he was in those good old, whatever, the over the shoulder type car seats. And up until today, I've set up little courses for him, and he does his quick feet and his burpees and his push-ups, and he benches and he squats with me with his PVC pipe. And
yep.
But the biggest aspect, I think, is it just keeps a lot on my plate, but I tend to do better with a lot on my plate, and it
Yep.
keeps me to a very strict schedule, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. It also, the biggest difference I've probably noticed pre-baby, post-baby is I'm not an in there for 3-4 hours powerlifter. I'm in and out in about an hour and a half, but I'm pretty efficient.
Got shit to do now.
And I get it all done. Like, actually, I think yesterday I was in and out in an hour and 8 minutes because I was late getting there, getting off work, and I was like, I gotta get in there, get it done. And you kind of surprise yourself what you're capable of getting done in that short time. But I don't miss workouts. I can't skip because I don't have as much time to like make it up at a different time or a different day. But luckily, he's a pretty good trooper coming with me. He calls most of the gyms the peeing gym because his mom pees when she deadlifts. So that's what my son calls it. Are we going to the black and red peeing gym, mommy?
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
How old is he?
He's 4. He's a fresh
He's
4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. You got him in the gym running around. Cause like we, obviously we own the gym too. And it's like, we have a spot for our kids. We have not the styrofoam. I don't know what they are. That's like a kid's bench. You know what I mean? Like the kids one, we have that one. It's cool to have, the PVC pipes and just have them around. I think that builds like a lot of confidence in little boys and girls. And you don't have that intimidation when they're older. More for girls. I think guys are less intimidated by the gym, especially your son will be. But especially when he sees girls peeing everywhere. He'll know what's up. He'll know something big's about to happen if they're peeing. How important is fitness in your life now? I mean, it seems like it's second nature. It's just you. I mean, I think there's no way around it.
It is. Yeah. No, I mean, I like to take my identity in Christ, but I would also say that my second biggest thing is probably, everyone knows me as the gym person, the power lifter, the strong one. But it's also my happy place. I'm not a great person when I don't get to the gym. Like I always say, if I can get a hot shower uninterrupted, not having to open up a yogurt while I'm in there or something like that, and get to the gym, then I can function. So it's usually the best part of my day, and I've never really known too much different. I burn out. I go through my seasons. That's usually when I jump to CrossFit, then come to my senses and come back. But for the most part, it's bread and butter. It's who I am, I guess. So
yeah, I mean, I relate a lot with like the plate full. Like if I have idle time, like I have to fill it. Like I have to do something. Like today I had like 30 minutes free. So I went and started one of like my old car and I started my dirt bike and I'm messing around. Like I just can't sit. Like, especially like now it's almost better because like I have to be so diligent with the training and the cardio and everything and the meal prep. It's like every day my plate's almost full and I'm like, perfect. Cause I feel like when I slow down too, I'll get like sick. It's like weird. Anytime like I have a big slowdown or I have time off work, I tend to get some kind of sickness. Like and it keeps me down. So like, man, the plate full thing, I think it just makes you schedule, makes you more diligent, I think it makes you a better person. You get more shit done. You don't need 3 hours in the gym. You realize you could do it in an hour 8. Like I think it's the best thing for like me. The best thing for me was having kids. It made me a way better person. Otherwise I'd be, wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. That's for sure. I don't know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be right here.
Well, I was just going to say that, not that you by any means need my validation, but, I grew up and my mom was a school teacher. My dad worked shift work. And I've told this story a million times, but just for you to know, he would always go to the gym either before or after. And he worked 12-hour shifts and he'd flip-flop night and day. So it didn't matter whether it was 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. He was going to the gym. And so I started like at like 9 or 10. I would go to the gym a lot with him. And some of those memories for me, I mean, it's why I got into training. It's why I do it now. And it was really formative for me. And it's a reason why, Tom and I are pretty much in agreement on this. Like I used to go to Tom's house before we had our gym and squat, and his girls would be out there. And at our gym now, like I try to bring my kids as much as I can. And, I just think it's really helpful and to grow up in that environment. And then to see you, like he doesn't understand it now, but I understood it when I became an adult, like what kind of effort and energy that takes to be that committed to being in the gym. Because once you're an adult, you now understand the other pressures in life and like, what does it take to work and what does it take to be a mom, especially a single mom. And you start to understand like, holy smokes, it was that important for my dad to be in the gym, even on top of all this stuff, like that means something. And so
Mhm.
I just think that's absolutely awesome. And especially that you're being as successful as you are. And I was just going to say this too, you know, in terms of, you talked about how you've kind of kicked it up a notch. I think it's why you're a coach. It's why we coach. Like, I think everybody needs a coach at some point in their life, and maybe for a long time, because they just motivate you in ways that you're not motivating yourself. I think that they see things that you don't see, and they for sure make you do things that you wouldn't do. And so those three things together usually end up for a better athlete.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's why we've always like well, I mean, even push, like for my prep now, I'm hiring a coach. Like we always say, coaches need coaches. We're always in agreement to that. And like when you go to the gym and you don't have a plan, you just do what you're good at. Like it happens to everybody. You get in your phases and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna squat and I'll do some lunges tomorrow. And it's just you stop doing your accessory, especially as powerlifting. I think you see that a lot. Is you see just like you hit the big three throughout the week, and then like the accessories are like an afterthought. And that's kind of where we come in as coaches, and all of us are like, no, you're missing the bench because of this, because your triceps are weak, so you need to train more triceps. Your rear delts suck. You want to bench more, you need bigger rear delts. Like that's kind of where we can have like a better eye. And that's what I saw in you when I saw you in Texas. I'm like, she's got the eye for this shit. I don't even have to coach her how to coach. Like I just gotta make sure she can come with us. Like, come on, Nicole, you're gonna be great. So I think that's where, like, you know, hiring you, and you've gotten a lot of clients in a short period of time, in my opinion, doing this for 4 or 5 years together. Me and Jacob have done it. Like typically they start trickling in. Yours are kind of coming a little bit faster. That's why I'm like, man, I'm kind of annoying Nicole right now. You want another one? You want another one? You want another one? But I think you're handling it well. And then I think all the feedback I get from the clients that you do have is nothing but 5-star reviews. So if at the end of this people want some more information on Nicole, you can DM our company and get you signed up. She knows her shit. She's smart. She's motivated. She has been fitness has been her life forever. So anybody who's listening who wants to get back on track and who needs a coach, Nicole is on the team and she's ready. So Nicole, also, I think you've probably found this with coaching a little bit, is like, what's better, like you hitting a PR or your client hitting a PR? Is it both, or do you side to one or the other?
That's a tough one. Maybe I feel like that makes me sound like a bad person for saying it's a tough one.
It is
I'm
tough.
still riding my 405 high PR, and so I know, but I would hope to have a moment with a client like Stacy and I shared at my last meet, like the joy and excitement, and I can she got me there, like, and that was one of my first experiences of really like drinking the Kool-Aid and trusting that process, that someone else, relinquishing that control, that someone else could get me there. And there's no doubt about it. Even my third attempt squat, we did so many pin squats from like right above my sticking point, I thought. I asked her like 3 times, I'm like, you sure about this? You sure about this? Well, guess exactly where I paused out, and I blazed right through that spot on my third squat at that meet. So it kind of helped me buy in. Not that she needs anyone to buy into her. She's
right. No, it does. It
but,
validates. It validates all your
nonetheless,
concerns.
like those moments, that hug, that was a pretty special moment. So I would hope that I will share that moment, and I think it will definitely trump my own moment eventually.
All right, here's a real question. Tom's asking all the nice questions. You said that all you want to do is get to 405. Now, do all you want to do is get to 500?
I hate saying things because then I'll do them. But it's been talked about. It's been talked about that it should probably be a pretty accomplishable goal. So
I know. I just remember. So and I think anybody listening to this will probably attest to the same thing. But I remember when I was in college, my freshman year, I said, man, if I can just weigh 225 of, you know, muscle and lean and all that, because I'm 6'3", 6'4" on a good day, and so I'm like, you know, that'd be pretty good size for me. You know, you read about Arnold, he competed at like 228, 230. I'm like, God, dog, that would be so awesome. And then I got to 225, and I said, man, maybe if I could just be 230 and then 230. Anyway, it just never stops. Like, it just never freaking stops, because once you get there, you realize how difficult it was to get there. But then, like you said, it also opens up the possibility that you did it. So that means I can do more. because your
Right.
body can keep pushing. And if I didn't think I could do it, and now I'm here, wow, what else can I do to keep pushing it even further? And I think that's what's so fun about this, about sports and just lifting in general. I mean, specifically strength sports, is there's never technically a finish line. It doesn't exist.
Right.
Your finish line is where do you decide that you just want to stop or do something different. And even that's now another thing. It's kind of what Tom's doing right now. And so anyway, I'm just curious because I'm sure you hit it and you're super happy, but then the next thing is, okay, what's next?
Well, there's so much more that you can hit it at a different weight class. You can hit it on the second attempt. And I'm a statistician, a math nerd for my day job. So everything's very numerically focused for me. The goal going into this next one is to just up the squat and bench. And if I can keep the deadlift the same, I'm trying to pick up some poundage on the other side, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's where you come from when you start getting out of like a beginner stage to like intermediate, advanced kind of powerlifting. If you want to categorize like that, like when you're new, you're like, well, I did 315, so now I could do 330, and like obviously I'm gonna squat more and bench more every meet, and then you get to a point where like, man, I hope I can hit my deadlift from a year ago on my third attempt after I squat more and I bench more. I'm like, oh, if I can hit all three, I mean, that's shit and gold bricks. Like it's just hard to do. People don't understand that till they get to a level of where like, no, I have to do 8 lifts before this last lift. So God, I hope there's something in me. Like, and it takes everything you had to pull something you already pulled, and you're so ecstatic because then it becomes a total game. And then that's where people kind of understand where like, oh, you did all that work and you deadlifted the same. You're like, well, I mean, yeah, but I squatted more and I benched more and I totaled more. So they're like, oh, cool. You're like, you don't get it. You know what I mean? Like it's just different. It's interesting seeing the different levels in the sport where you're like, no, if I can hit that on my third, if I hit 402, 407 on my third, cool. You know what I mean? Because and now I think part of it too is already doing it once. You're like, okay, in your head, you're like, I've already pulled this. I pulled in the gym. I pulled it in a meet. Now we just got up the squat, up the bench, up the total, and then keep playing. So
well, and it sounds like you're a good deadlifter. So from my experience when I used to compete in powerlifting, that was the one lift that, like you said, maybe I wouldn't necessarily set a PR, but I knew what was there. Like squat, I was always a little bit like, it kind of depends on, how it goes. Bench was for sure depends on how it goes. But deadlift, like going into the meet, whether it was going to be a PR or a little bit under, whatever, I kind of knew. I was very rarely surprised. Like if you're a good deadlifter, I think you kind of know what's there. And Tom, you're probably the opposite way with squat. You probably know, going to the meet what's there and what's not.
Yeah.
And that's how I was with deadlift. But to what you guys are talking about, like it's why I try to explain to people about Dan Bell. I think no one had ever squatted 1,000 and deadlifted 9 in the same meet, and he did 11 and 9. And I try to help people understand like how freaking crazy it is to either do one of those lifts ever in your life, and you'll be lucky if you ever meet someone who does one of those lifts, and then to do both, and not just do both, but to beat that by 100 pounds, it's just sick.
And bench 6.
Yeah, right. And bench 6. Like that's the other thing.
Not a bad day.
Who don't power lift, they don't understand how much a heavy squat takes out of your bench. I think that's the hardest thing is to bench after a freaking heavy squat, especially when you're squatting like what you guys are squatting, 800-900 pound, 1,000, whatever it is. Like, I mean, that's just insane.
Yeah. So that'll probably be the newest challenge for you, Nicole, is when you start up in that squat is like, okay, now how good are my shoulders for this bench? And then what energy is left for my deadlift? And you're a pretty good deadlifter, so I think it's something you could probably just pull out of, lack of better words, pull out of your ass if you have to.
But I definitely am a show off deadlifter. I do better under pressure. I do better. I was actually going to say I'm kind of the opposite. I feel like I never know. I know it'll be a lot, and I know I'll die trying, but I don't actually know. That 405 prep, I didn't break 347 the whole prep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I missed 352 in the gym, like maybe 5 weeks out. But I don't know. There's, like I said, I'm a show off, and I like the platform. I like the competition. That moment's just different. So I'd say I surprised myself in some ways.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then you'll come to see too. As soon as that squat goes up, typically it's not tit for tat, but typically you build your squat, your deadlift goes up. Right. It's just kind of like they just go together. So hopefully we see that from you.
Must be nice to be a good squatter. I love squatting in the gym, but it's that it's first. I always say that if something else could be first, like we could have like a pretend thing first, that'd be great. But I'm just a ball of anxiety on that first. Yeah,
squat. Dude. I mean, I feel the same way sometimes. Like that's why I typically open kind of light. I'll go light and I'll bury the shit out of it just so they kind of leave me alone. But it's just like one of those things. When you're in high school, you're a good deadlifter, right? So you don't really give a shit. Like you're like, oh, okay, I'm good at strength sports. Okay, whatever. I'll go play volleyball. Like for me, I squatted 500 at 16. Like it was always like just kind of came natural. Just is what it is.
Yeah, but what did you weigh?
150.
Yeah, he's squatted 500 at 150.
Yeah,
at
but like, what's going on with this hat? I can't get it straight. So I mean, but regardless, like I've been doing 3 to 4 times my body weight since I was 16 years old.
Insane.
So it's I mean, I understand the numbers are great, but it's like, that's just always what I've done. Like if I don't squat a lot, like I'm slapping God in the face for not doing it. Like it's just, that's what I'm built for. Like my cousin like rides his bicycle 20 miles a day and barely works out, and he's got huge legs. Like we're just built to squat. Right. So, I mean, I wish I could bench more, that'd be cool. Wish I could stop tearing stuff. I mean, we all think,
sounds like we all feel that way.
Yeah, that'd be cool. But, yeah, so we're going to wrap this up. And Nicole, I'm really happy you just came on with very short notice. Where can people find you on Instagram?
Body by a barbell.
Body by a barbell.
That's a great handle, by the way.
That is pretty good. That's pretty good that you snagged that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's good.
That's fantastic. Well, I'll just say this real quick. Tom has been around this world for a long time. He's probably been to more powerlifting meets and he's probably forgotten more meets than he's been to at this point. And for him to notice, that's what sold me on you. It was, and Tom and I didn't even have to have a discussion about it, but for Tom to be like, oh my gosh, I saw Nicole and she's a good coach. Like for him to say that means something, because he's seen every kind of coach you can possibly see. And I don't know that, gosh, I don't know if I can think of a time that you've been to a meet and you come back and said, hey, that person's a good coach. It's really, really rare.
I know one.
So yeah, right. So I'm just saying, like, that speaks a lot to you, about you, Nicole. And, I just want to say for anybody listening, there's a reason why we call this Be Better. We didn't call it Tom and Jacob or Jacob and Tom or JT or TJ or any of that stuff, because we didn't want it to be necessarily about us. We wanted to be a part of it. We wanted to lead it in some ways. But our goal was, where can we help people go to find real coaches who really know what they're doing, who are good people, and they're going to help you in a lot of ways. And we wanted to kind of become the brand for that. And so I'm grateful to have you on board, and just excited to get to know you better. You got to get to Chicago. You got to come squat with us. I got better squatting just squatting with Tom, so I know it'll happen for you too.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a good time. You guys let me know when the sun's back.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It'll be 6 months. That's what I told her too. I'm like, dude, if like Nicole, if you were here, we would hire you to train kids with me, because me and Jacob also train kid athletes at the gym. And I'm like, God, it'd be nice to have like a third person. I'm like, dude, if Nicole would just get out of Texas and come raise her ass off in Illinois, she could have a part-time job training kids.
Start a whole adventure here in Texas.
I think you'd lose me. I'd be the first one there.
I know. My brother's down in Texas. I do like Texas. We almost moved there during COVID. We were looking up stuff. I was going to sell everything and just load it up and go down to Texas and live easy.
Still can.
Yeah.
Still could. But now we got the gym for 2 more years. So we're going to hold on to that. Maybe in 2 years. But yeah, it would be great to get you up here sometime if we could help make that happen too. It would be good to have you up here. If people want to train with you, you can hit up our company, obviously Be Better Official. I'll get you hooked up to train with Nicole. She's taking on clients left and right for us, kicking ass, taking names, and follow her at Body by a Barbell. Check out her prep coming in April, second week in April, I think the Ghost Clash is. So I'm excited for that prep. I'm going to be watching. But thanks for coming on, Nicole. Thanks for being a coach. Thanks for just being you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. It was great. This was fun. First podcast experience for me. So I enjoyed it.
You did great. Awesome having you on, Nicole. I'll text you tomorrow. Okay.
All right. Talk soon. Bye.
All right. See you. Bye.